Park Modern is front row onto Kensington Gardens. That's the number one thing. We are literally looking out over Kensington Palace, and there's nobody in front of your view.
It's a gorgeous scheme. It's been really well thought out by the architect and by the developers, Fenton Whelan. There's incredible attention to detail.
I think this building will be very individualistic and one of a kind. And I think that for us represents a contribution to the character of Hyde Park for the next century and onward.
We always thought this site merited something spectacular and different because it was such a special location. We wanted to try and bring something that created some curves and a little bit of excitement into the residential sector.
The thing I do when I pitch Park Modern to potential purchasers is put a picture of our view on the screen and say, this is what we're selling, this is what we're all about.
I've spent the best part of 30 years specialising in all of the best developments in the super prime market. I think this scheme sits up there with the very best that I've ever seen.
What we set out to do was to create the best residential development in London. We wanted to create something special, a legacy really for that location on the park.
My name is Sanjay Sharma. I'm one of the founders of Fenton Whelan. We are real estate developers in central London, and we're the originators of the Park Modern project.
I'm James Fenton Whelan. I'm a co-founder of Fenton Whelan, real estate developer. I think we bring a personal touch to everything that we do. Most of our projects are within walking distance of our office, so we're very local, we're very focused on the location. We're design-led, looking at floor plans, layouts, making things flexible for people.
Fenton Whelan have built up a huge amount of trust in the market. They've delivered some amazing products. All of the developments they've done have been to the highest spec and in prime central London.
London is an international city. It's world class. It has a fantastic restaurant scene, cultural scene. It has a cosmopolitan residency. There are people from all over the world living in London.
I think London's place on the global stage sits there with New York and Hong Kong very much as one of the three key centres for economics, business, culture.
London is an incredible place to live. As somebody who grew up in San Francisco and has lived in New York and Paris, I can tell you I chose to settle here because I think it combines the best elements of all of those cities. It has the cultural attractions, the events, the cosmopolitan population, but also a quality of life with open spaces that's really unparalleled.
London's appeal as a wealth hub remains unfazed through the pandemic. Our research shows that London has more millionaires than any other global city, with more than 874,000 of them. In terms of where London sits in the global context, it topped our annual City Wealth Index, which assesses where ultra-high net worths and the global wealthy like to live, spend time and to invest.
Most people now see London as a really great opportunity. We're calling it a buy market, so we expect over the next 5 years house prices in London to substantially increase. London is looking in pretty good shape.
The location of Park Modern, I think, is an area where Londoners choose to live. A lot of the permanent residents of London who occupy positions, whether it be in hedge funds or film and entertainment, they tend to live around this side of the park.
Queensway is regenerating at an amazing pace right now. There are a number of other developments around us that are bringing about change too. We're all working together to make a new Queensway.
There's a huge amount of confidence and investment going into the area. There's new shops opening up, there's a new high street which is being built. Just behind Park Modern we have a 5-star hotel opening up, the Six Senses, which is really exciting.
My background is hotels. Knowing that a 5-star hotel operator is actually signing on the dotted line for a location like Queensway gives you the confidence that something is really truly happening there.
By the time the development's completed and residents have moved in, Queensway is going to be a truly spectacular place, one of the really vibrant neighborhoods of central London. On their doorstep, they're not only going to have the wonders of Hyde Park and Kensington Gardens, but they're going to benefit from one of the best hotels and spas in the world, as well as some of the leading shops and the village retail concept that we're bringing to Queensway. As a person who currently lives near the park, I can tell you Park Modern is going to be about park living. I currently spend much of my weekends in the park, whether it's with my children at the playground or with my partner taking in a concert. Exercise, there's so many things to do if you live near Hyde Park.
Why would you not want to live on the park? It's an amazing place. You've got green in front of you. You've got the different seasons and seasonality, the changes of the trees. Park Modern looks out over water to the big pond and towards the Royal Albert Hall. It's pretty special.
The real joy of being on the park is the fact that it's right on your front doorstep. I mean, you're never in London going to have a big enough garden. So this is effectively one's garden. You can step outside your front door and you are right in a park. There's that rich green texture that we enjoy. There is such a dominance of trees in this park, be it the Scots pines or the oak trees or freesias. I mean, there's such a huge abundance of different varieties of trees.
I think Hyde Park and also Kensington Gardens are probably one of the most famous, if not the most famous public park in the world. If you go to Hyde Park on any weekend, you'll hear probably 15 different languages being spoken within 15 minutes of entering the park. So it is at once quintessentially English and yet ultimately very cosmopolitan.
For residents at Park Modern, the park really becomes part of daily life. But to really connect the two, our development and the park, we've done something really special. Working closely with the Royal Parks and Westminster Council, we've designed and are going to build new park gates right opposite our development, which will form a gateway into the park and from the park back into Queensway. It effectively gives the residents of Park Modern their own entrance into the green open spaces of Kensington Gardens.
We always thought this site merited something spectacular and different because it was such a special location. I think a lot of the architecture in the residential sector in London is characterized by blocky and square buildings that lack a certain flair. We wanted to try and bring something that created some curves and a little bit of excitement into the residential sector.
From the very beginning, we resisted creating a building that was just a simple rectangular box. This building has a very, very unique and special role in its setting. Therefore, the building's expression had to be something different. It had to be something memorable.
It was very important for us to make sure that the positioning of our building and the proximity to Kensington Palace and the park, and also being the jewel in the crown of the whole Queensway regeneration, that the building was going to live up to that level of promise. It was going to become a landmark in the years to come.
If you look at the park, you've got this wonderful organic shapes of the flower beds, of the canopies of the trees. So we set out at the beginning to mimic that through the use of an organic shape for the building. And so the curves represent this notion of a continuous line that moves from one end of the site to the other, evocative of the organic shapes that one sees within nature.
I think one of the key things, again, that we tried to differentiate in this project was the addition of outside space to virtually every single unit within the block. Outside space is underrepresented in London residential construction today, and so all of our units benefit from outside balconies at the very least, and in some cases terraces which allow alfresco dining.
Many, many years ago when I studied architecture, I remember one lecturer in particular saying to me that always remember the best wallpaper is a window. And with a window that looks out onto Hyde Park, you want to maximise the amount of glazing that you provide to your residents so that they can enjoy that view every single day and every single moment. The important thing to make that happen is really increasing the floor-to-ceiling heights that are available.
Although it's been a very long road to get here, we're very, very proud of what Park Modern is and is going to be. I think we're delivering the most beautiful building on the park, certainly in the residential space, and certainly for the last 20 or 30 years. I think it's different, it's exceptional, and the architecture reflects that. I also think our residents are going to be proud to live there and are going to enjoy it and the park life it presents for many years to come.
Park Modern has been a long time in the making. Now, being able to see the project as it will be, in all its glory, it's clear we have something truly special. Arriving at our private drop-off on Inverness Terrace, you will be greeted by a friendly, familiar face from our valet parking or security team. Upon entering the large, light-filled lobby, you will have beautiful views of the park on one side and a feature fireplace on the other, giving you that feeling of returning home. Off the lobby, we have our residence lounge, a multifunctional space for meetings, informal gatherings, or even kids' parties. The lobby corridor will lead to the residence lifts that will take you up to your residence or down to our well-being floor. Upon exiting the lift on the well-being floor, you will be greeted by the spa receptionist, where you can book treatments in our salon or spa. Behind the desk, you will immediately see our state-of-the-art 25-meter pool, with its impressive feature ceiling, mirroring the fluid lines of the water below, as well as the park outside. From the pool, you can look through a glass wall into our spacious modern gym. Next to the gym, there's a private 16-seat cinema that residents can reserve to watch a film or sporting event with friends and family. We've built our spa to feel like a sanctuary, a place where you can step back from hectic life and feel at ease. One of the things I'm proud of at Park Modern is that we have a variety of park-facing apartments, from one-bed studios all the way up to our 6-bed penthouse, which is special because it's rare that every apartment size will get a view. On the first 4 floors, we have a number of 2-bed apartments in the center of the building and larger 3-bed residences on each corner. From floor 5 to 7, we introduce larger 4-bed apartments that run from back to front, with incredible south-facing reception rooms and terraces. The 8th and the 9th floor of Park Modern are the penthouse floors. The 8th floor is divided into a large east-facing 5-bed with views of the City of London, whilst the other is a spacious 4-bed overlooking Kensington Palace. Both views on the 8th floor are amazing, but for those who really can't decide between the eastern or the western aspect, we've got our 9th floor penthouse. The 9th floor penthouse spans the entire width of Park Modern at just under 7,000 square feet. The penthouse has 2,400 square feet of wraparound terracing, giving you 360-degree views from Canary Wharf and the London Eye in the east, all the way to Royal Albert Hall and Kensington Palace in the west.
Previously in London, most of the residential developments had taken place across the southern edge of the park, which gives them a northern aspect, but obviously the light is far superior if you're facing south, and that was what made us realize that Park Modern would make a truly spectacular residential development.
Park Modern faces south, so you can see from your terrace sunrise to sunset. It's incredible. You get the light all day.
The interiors of Park Modern are obviously designed around the views. We went with a lighter palette and very clean lines so as not to distract from that fundamental feature.
The idea with the interiors was to allow them to be clean and modern. From the outset, we always wanted to give every apartment the best possible materials and finishes. We've got hand-selected natural stone throughout all of the apartments and through the residence amenity spaces. We have spent a lot of time designing the joinery, the doors, the finishes, the ironmongery for the building. So everything that you touch feels special.
It's been a very long journey since 2014 building Park Modern, but we're very close to finishing it. And I'm so pleased to be able to introduce it to all our potential buyers and stakeholders.
We're very proud about what we've achieved and the changes that we've brought about. I'm really excited to see what this means for the area and how things flourish in the future.